Welcome to the Ahern Video Podcast. Today I want to talk about technology and sales. And I continually stress in all of my newsletters and with all of our clients that you got to stay ahead of the technology curve. Today, 35% of our business comes off the internet. We rank number 1 or number 2 in Google. You're constantly finding ways to attract readers' attention. We're constantly trying to find ways to attract trucking companies' attention. And of course, today, when you want something, you Google it. However, there has to be a compromise between technology and sales and learning how to create relationships. And let me give you an example. I have a salesperson that comes in to me and we're looking to do some special type of advertising. And he comes in and he sits down at my desk and he starts making a presentation. Then every 2 minutes he's looking at his smartphone. And then as he's talking to me, he's going like this. And finally, I said to him, do you realize how distracting that is? You come in and you want some of my attention and you're trying to sell me your services, and yet you're too involved in something else. And he said to me, Mr. Ahern, I watch all of your podcasts, and you yourself have said that technology is the way to the future. And I said, yes, it is, but relationships are a way to sales. And so far, you've come in here in 10 minutes, you've been on your phone 9 out of the 10 minutes. So here's a suggestion I have for you. Go home. The next time you want to interview with me, leave your cell phone in your car at home, and then we'll talk about your services. And if you don't want to do that, and then I asked him a very important question. Are you the number 1 salesperson in your office? His comment was no. And I said, doesn't that send a signal? Do you realize how offensive it is? Go to a restaurant and watch couples today. They don't know how to communicate except by an email. Recently, we had a young fella that came to us and he was telling us about all the problems he had. And he wanted a business plan and he wanted direction. And he was going in 18 different directions. And he would communicate with text. And I communicate with my customers by text because a lot of them get 300 or 400 emails. And when we're dealing with sensitive information, I want to get access to them right away. But at the same time, we talk to them. We create that relationship. We create the bond. So I was debating on whether I wanted to take on this client because he wasn't focused. And I questioned whether I could ever get him to focus. So finally I said, call me. And I got a text, I'll call you in an hour. Never calls. And I get another text, I'll call you in an hour. I get another text, I got this problem, I got this problem, I got this problem. And then I sent him a text, I'm not interested. Then he sent me an email. Please. And my response was, it's too late. And that's the point I'm trying to make. If you want to be successful in sales, if you want to embrace technology, if you want to stay ahead of the curve, you still need to know how to create a relationship. Relationships. And demonstrating to that client or prospective client that you're in the relationship for something other than the almighty dollar is what's going to make you or break you. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, be an effective listener. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and you want to be at the top of your profession, listen to what your clients have to say. The other day I walk in the office and one of my salesmen, he's on the phone looking at his emails, personal emails. I don't say anything. A couple hours later I go and he's working on his emails. I don't say anything. Third time I walk in there, I said, come in my office. I said, what's so important that you're breaking your sales pattern by continuing to go to your personal emails? And he said, well, I started bringing my phone in because, I get a lot of these personal emails and I want to stay on top of it. And I said, stop. What is your job function? Your job function isn't to answer your emails in the office. Your job function is to stay focused on your career. So you got 2 choices. You can bring in the cell phone, I don't care. Keep it off or keep it on vibrate and put it in your pocket. But that is the distraction, it's breaking your pattern. That's the other thing. So if you got a goal, you got an objective, you know where you want to be, you got to stay focused, you got to be consistent, you got to be persistent, but you can't have distractions. In closing, I had a salesperson that was with me for about 7 years, and his name was Ricky Bloom, and unfortunately passed away from diabetes. But when I hired him, he was flat broke. And Ricky came to me and he says, you know, I need another chance. I want to get my kids back. I want to do this. I want to do that. And we really bonded together. And I said, okay, Ricky, here's what you need to do. You need to set specific goals, specific objectives, and you got to stay focused. So he comes in, he says, I've got it, boss. I'm going to make 50 phone calls a day. I'm going to prepare the night before. And regardless of the way I feel, I'm going to get those 50 phone calls done. I said, okay, well, what's the goal? He says, a Corvette. I said, Ricky, what about financial security? What about a college trust fund? He says, I want a Corvette. And the bottom line is he did exactly what he said, and he got his Corvette. Then he set his next goal, he wanted a watch. Then he set his next goal, get his kids down here. And he got his kids down there. And he got his custody back of his kids. And it was probably the greatest accomplishment I've ever seen of a human being, because Ricky would stay focused, and you couldn't get him out of his office. Now the problem with that is once Ricky finished his calls, then he wanted to go around and talk to everybody else. He called it kibitzing. But the point I was making is he had a goal, he had an objective, and he wasn't going to let anybody get in his way. He did it professionally, he did it ethically, and he embraced everything that I try to teach in all of my training seminars and also in my newsletters. So until next time, thank you for attending the podcast.